Ladies and gentlemen, the Steelers somehow pull off a victory in primetime at home by beating the Tennessee Titans 20-16, man. The Titans still have yet to beat us since 2013, and the Steelers pull off another comeback victory at home under Kenny Pickett. Diontae Johnson can now rest peacefully knowing that Ben Roethlisberger is now not the last quarterback he caught a touchdown pass from. For the first time in 668 days, Diontae Johnson caught a touchdown pass. For the first time in over 100 consecutive catches, he has a touchdown catch. It's about time. Well-deserved, and it was the play that won us this game. The offensive play that got us the score to win this game. So good for Diontae, and very proud for him, very happy for him. We are all very happy for Diontae to finally get that. And to help us win the game is even more sweeter for him. So
yeah, my guy earned that touchdown. He was overdue for one.
And I think we have a newfound appreciation for Diontae since coming back from IR. I don't want to say he's been excellent or perfect because he still has his common little drop errors, but it's been very much reduced. And he's been very good, very dependable, very missed for this offense, and especially for Kenny. I mean, he's just been putting up yardage, and today he got a score. He's been a very dependable wideout. He's actually earning that contract for the first time now. So thank God for Diontae Johnson.
Big shout out to him and props to DJ for real.
And, of course, he led us in receiving 7 catches, 90 yards, and finally a touchdown. Outside of that, everyone else offensively didn't really do much outside of the ground game. George Pickett
was excellent, though, the ground game.
The ground game was excellent, but before we get to that, George Pickens didn't even have positive yardage today. 2 catches, -1 yard. Yeah.
Ew.
The second straight game where George Pickens doesn't really do anything. He doesn't get a lot of targets. He doesn't get a lot of passes thrown his way. And he lost receiving yardage.
And he was damn near close to getting a touchdown, but he just wasn't able to get that toe drag swag in there.
No, when he clearly had enough space.
He had more than enough space. Just about any other NFL wide receiver would have gotten that toe, and George Pickens just didn't do it.
No, one of the few.
That was a mistake on his part.
One of the few really good throws from Kenny Pickett today was what would have been a Pickens touchdown, but it wasn't, unfortunately, because, like I said, Pickens had all the space to get his foot down, but didn't. It's been a common error with him. He's going to have to clean that up. But that just goes to show you that although we did win this game, we came back from a deficit. The offense still wasn't perfect. Kenny absolutely wasn't perfect.
Nowhere near perfect.
And we still left points off the board. We left a minimum of 14 points off the board, a max of 18. A minimum of 14 if Kenny Pickett would have either hit Calvin Austin deep up the middle on a touchdown, if he would have put a little more air on that pass, or if he would have seen Connor Hayward open in the red zone, or if he would have hit Allen Robinson when he intended for Allen Robinson in the end zone.
Yeah.
So points continued off the board, and that still shows you, despite that, Kenny went Kenny comeback again. He became the Kenny comeback kid again.
Was it the 7th time now for Kenny Pickett with a game-winning drive?
Yeah. So he was the comeback kid again. He was Kenny comeback, but I'm still not going to let that blind me and fool me from the fact that the first 3 quarters he still played terrible.
Yeah.
He missed a lot of open targets. His accuracy was just off in every aspect. A lot of overthrows towards Pickens, towards Diontae especially. Like we said, he missed Calvin Austin. He underthrew him on a deep pass. All he had to do was pull a more air on it. That would have been a touchdown deep for CA3. And he missed Connor Hayward wide open, and then Allen Robinson on the intended target, short for him in the end zone. So that's just basic throws, basic execution that he's not executing.
Yeah, because Kenny finished today with 19 completions out of 30 attempts, only 160 yards, and the 1 touchdown Diontae caught.
Which continues to be a weekly trend.
Had he completed those passes, had he executed those, he would have more yardage and more touchdowns, which we need to see more of out of Kenny Pickett.
And I'm not excusing the injury or the short week or whatever. There's no excuses for Kenny Pickett. I'm not even blaming coaching. I'm not blaming scheming because, believe it or not, I can't believe I'm going to say this, we will actually give props to Matt Canada. There is no fire Canada tonight. There is no blame Canada. There is no fuck Matt Canada tonight.
Yeah, Matt Canada was on the sideline for the first time ever as Steelers offensive coordinator.
And I don't see no reason why it should change. I'm not saying it's saving his job. I'm not saying Matt Canada should stick around. The saying will still be fire Canada, but not tonight. Matt Canada called the game of his life. There are zero issues from us when it comes to the play calling from Matt Canada.
I had no problem with what Matt Canada called today.
The play designs were there. The play calls were there in many aspects tonight, especially from Kenny. The execution was not there.
That's where Kenny needs to step up big time.
And we said that last week, and that still followed in on a short week this week.
And we're going to continue to say it throughout the rest of the year.
Yes.
Throughout the time that Kenny's going to be the quarterback for us for the future.
Yeah.
We're going to continue to say it because Kenny needs to make those plays. Those are points off the board.
This is
to where you shouldn't have to come back in the fourth quarter
and
again.
it's just basic throws that he should have already been making. Basic execution that he's not doing. Imagine if he executed those passes. We wouldn't have to worry about Kenny come back. We wouldn't have to have that heartache towards the end of the game where Quan Alexander, thankfully, he was the only defender on that defense that decided to catch an interception on that drive to finally seal the game.
That actually decided to use his hands.
Yeah, so we wouldn't have to come down to that. We wouldn't have to come down to a typical Steelers heartache towards the end of the game if Kenny just made those throws or even if Pickens got that foot in bounds. It's just simple execution that these players are not making. It's as simple as that, and you can watch the game, and it's so evident. Execution needs to be on key. That's where they need to improve. Seriously. No hate, no negativity, nothing negative when it comes to Matt Canada tonight. Called the game of his life. I give him a round of applause. I give him a thank you. That does not save his job. That does not save our viewpoint on Canada, nor should it for anyone that is on the Fire Canada train. But tonight, that train comes to a stopping halt because he did well. He did everything he could to help this offense, and the players, for the most part, didn't execute. Points off the board, but I will say there were times where the team was going down the field at a decent pace, a little more than we thought. They started the game with an opening drive touchdown. Best drive of the season. It ended in a Najee touchdown, which the run game was phenomenal tonight. Warren and Najee splitting even reps, both getting big chunks, big yardage, just running hard, running explosive.
Yeah.
They were a big reason for why we were able to find a lot of success on the offense and get down the field.
Absolutely.
And get in the red zone. But more times than not, when we got to the red zone, we just couldn't finish. I think we were, 50% in the red zone tonight? Something like that?
Yeah.
So that's stuff that still needs to be cleaned up. That's stuff that we saw the past couple of years, especially last year, and they're still trying to find success at finishing drives. It's just we won't have to worry about that final sequence if we just finished those drives. Simple as that. It's stuff that these players should be already fixing up, and they're not. And it's the player execution most importantly. And that was evident again tonight. But nonetheless, when it mattered the most, yes, they all stepped up. The run game stepped up. They're the MVP of tonight. Diontae absolutely stepped up. He should definitely get a game ball tonight, not just for his contributions in the passing game, but for that game-winning touchdown. As for that, the offense, I mean, you could say they had one of their better games, but I would still argue Kenny looked terrible, and we left points off the board. And that's all on players. Nothing on Canada, nothing on coaching. It's all because of the players' failure to execute. Mm-hmm. As for the defense, Will Levis is already a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. I just want to say that. He has much better arm talent. He just looks so composed with the Titans right now. As he looks in the pocket, as he was under pressure, Will Levis was just be able to sling it. And no, we didn't have Minka on this game, but he was still able to sling it to his targets like Kyle Phillips and Hopkins, who had really good games. He was able to find open targets because our secondary still is Swiss cheese. We still leave open targets here and there. Outside of that, Joey Porter Jr. seemed like the only corner that was blanketing his receivers and doing very well. I'm not sure how many yardage he allowed or how many catches he allowed in coverage, but it seemed like he was damn near perfect. Mm-hmm. And he was following D-Hop around throughout the entire game, which was great. We don't never see that. Typically, the Steelers like to keep their corners at their own spot on the left or right side. Well, they had JPJ follow Hopkins around, it's a nice change of pace. We're not used to that on the Steelers defense. So to see that happen and see him go up against DeAndre Hopkins and do well his own was very nice to see. So shout out to JPJ on a decent game in the coverage aspect. Otherwise, he's still a mess when it comes to penalties, when it comes to tackling. That hopefully gets better with time. He needs to build up on his bulk and his size a little bit. He's a little skinny for his position, so he's definitely going to have to improve on that throughout the couple years. But, I mean, outside of that, him in coverage was excellent. I would say so. So JPJ definitely needs to cover up the tackling and the penalty issues, as does this entire defense. The first drive that the Titans had was like five penalties.
Yeah.
It was just ridiculous.
One of them was a TJ Watt roughing the passer, quote unquote.
Which wasn't.
But the other four were definitely on the defense.
Yeah.
That's something that they have to clean up for the rest of the way. Those are not good.
No.
You can't risk those. Those are not tolerable.
In fact,
they cannot be done.
I will say that 2 penalties that were called on the defense, which was a roughing the passer from TJ Watt and a holding penalty on Joey Porter Jr. on the Titans' last drive, which was on 4th down, by the way, and that penalty gave the Titans the opportunity to possibly win this game. That was not holding.
Yeah.
The ball was behind Hopkins, and I didn't see any holding, man. They get away with that all game, but when the game is on the line, now the refs want to throw the flag. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. I don't understand it. They have way too much control in the games. The refs were mostly terrible today, as they are every day, but the penalties were just ridiculous from, honestly, both sides of the team, but especially...
As it is usual for the NFL.
But especially from our defense. That was one of our biggest negatives on the defense, was not only leaving receivers open and giving Derrick Henry 75 yards on the ground and a rushing touchdown, but the penalties for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's where they got to clean it up. Can't tolerate those.
But
can't afford them.
No, but the positives from the defense was definitely the pass rush. It was a little consistent because there were times Levis had time in the pocket to just, make his reads and make his throws, and boy, did he. Even under pressure, he still made some eye-opening
for a rookie in his second career start in prime time with pressure pretty much around him the majority of the time, you know, he was... Again, props to Levis. He's very composed. He was very calm in the pocket.
It was actually impressive, and as a Steelers fan, I'm kind of jealous.
Yeah, but
I'm not gonna lie to you.
But we still were able to get 4 sacks on him. 2 of them from Alex Highsmith. He had a big game. 1 from T.J. Watt. 1 from Marcus Golden.
Yeah.
Like our pass rush, our edge depth really came up big in this one. And again, Quan Alexander with the game-sealing interception coming up big on that one.
So outside of the sacks, the interception from Quan Alexander, and JPJ in coverage for this game, the defense was still kind of sus. It was definitely an ugly victory for this team on both sides because, like we said, points left off the board on the offense, and I feel like they gave the Titans a little more fight than they should have had. I know we didn't have Minka in the backfield, but that's still a little inexcusable from an experienced secondary. So outside of that, the Steelers still walk away with a victory, 20-16. So they did lose Cole Holcomb in this game, which was unfortunate to see. He was one of 2 players to be carted out on the field. There were a lot of injuries, more so on the Titans, but one of the scary ones for the Steelers was Cole Holcomb. He was carted on the field or off the field because of a knee injury.
A little friendly fire from Keanu Neal there hit his knee, and it didn't look pretty.
And it did not look good, and he couldn't put no weight on his left leg. So I don't want to say it, but it could be a season-ending injury, and I feel like Holcomb's been solid this year. He's one of our leaders on the defense, especially in the middle. I think he's our green dot. So that sucks to see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to wait to get full clearance of exactly what the injury is and if he will be out for the full season, but it does not look good.
It does not look good, and same thing with Traylon Burks. He was carted off towards the end of the game, and prayers to both of them. You never want to see that.
Big time.
So there were a lot of flags. There were a lot of injuries, unfortunately, for this game, but it also did end in a nail-biter and a heartache for us Steelers fans. But the Steelers did find a way to come out with the victory. An ugly victory, yes.
Which is normal when it comes to the Steelers, and we just might as well be used to it if we're not already.
Yeah.
Ugly win, but we'll take it. And somehow, some way, the Steelers are 5-3.
They are 5-3, and they get closer to that AFC North #1 spot. They are somehow in the running of it. I think that says a lot more about the AFC North than it does our Steelers, but nonetheless, that's how the NFL season's going. It's weird. It's crazy. I don't understand it. It's unpredictable, but here we are, and the Steelers are 5-3 off of a short week, beating the Tennessee Titans. They came back from it, and I'll give the Steelers this, man. They left points off the board, but they picked up when it mattered the most.
Yeah.
So I'll give that to them.
And as always, we'll see what they can do heading into the next matchup against Green Bay as we stay in Heinz Field for the 3rd straight time against the Green Bay Packers. We'll see if Matt Canada, with what he did on the sidelines today, if he can carry that into the next game and be consistent with his play calling.
Yes.
See if Kenny can execute better with his throws, with his targets.
Yeah, so don't let this win blind you. Don't let Matt Canada's game plan and his game calling blind you. Don't let Kenny Pickett's comeback blind you, because it all matters with consistency.
Yeah.
It all matters with that. Just because we won a game doesn't mean like we're on the verge of, rebuilding this team when I still have concerns of it. Again, we still left points off the board. The defense is still Swiss cheese. There's still constant errors that are evident week after week.
Yeah, a win does not hide everything away.
No, especially when you've been winning in the same fashion for how many years?
And if we win a game, we got to see if they do carry it into next week. We've been preaching that statement all season.
Yes, but now they have a little bit of a mini bye. They have a mini bye after this game to prepare for the Green Bay Packers, and they stay home for the next game. So they have a mini bye. They can enjoy that. They can enjoy the nice rest and hopefully build upon this. And hopefully Kenny can continue to grow. We didn't see a lot of growth today. If anything, we saw a lot more of what we saw last week.
More regression than progression.
Yeah, just because he made a comeback win, he was a comeback Kenny again, doesn't mean everything's fixed.
Doesn't mean we got to sweep it under the rug.
Doesn't mean we can't forget about the previous 3 quarters.
And we're not going to forget about those.
No.
Because those are just as important as the fourth quarter.
Those are just as important in the player execution, not just from Kenny, but from the other receivers for sure, especially Pickens. Needs to step up big time, as well as the O-line. But other than that, speaking of the O-line, shout out to Broderick Jones, starting at right tackle. Thought he did pretty solid. Thought he did real solid. It kind of helped with our ground game, and that's probably a reason why they started Broderick Jones. And I'd like to see him more at left tackle because I feel like that's his more natural position.
Yeah.
I'd hate to flop him back and forth and mess up his development. But I will say, shout out to Broderick Jones starting at right tackle. Definitely helped out the ground game a lot. I think that was the Steelers' plan, and it went to succession tonight.
Yeah, he had a stellar performance, and I'm looking forward to see what he does throughout the remainder of the season at right tackle.
Yeah, we'll see what he does there, man. So that's interesting to note. But Steelers win 2016. They're 5-3. They got a mini bye. Let's prepare for the Green Bay Packers, and hopefully we can build on this and just build from our continued mistakes because it's evident in this one, but they got the dub nonetheless. So shout out to the defense or the pass rush, Quan Alexander and JPJ. Shout out Diontae Johnson. And dare I say, shout out to Matt Canada for calling the game of his life. And it led us to a Steelers victory. So I'll take it. And we got the mini bye. We can all kind of rest from 2 stressful editions of stressful Steelers football in 1 week.
Yeah.
So
let's take this upcoming weekend we're about to enter and just relax and chill, kick our feet up, and watch some solid football games this weekend.
And hope the other AFC North teams lose.
Yeah,
seriously. That's always a joy.
Seriously.
Well, let's know your guys' thoughts about this game in the comments below. How do you guys think that the rookies did? How do you think Broderick Jones did? How do you think Kenny did? What mistakes do you think they could fix up on? How many points do you guys think they left off the board? Let us know everything in the comments below. Love to hear your guys' thoughts about this one. Otherwise, Steelers win 5-3. And we'll see what we can do in a mini bye as we prepare for the Green Bay Packers. At the end of the day, here we go, Steelers. We'll take the dub. Matt Canada, don't make me a fucking believer.
We'll see what happens next week. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Peace!